Good afternoon, Stampin' friends. This is Robin with Stamp with Dr. Robin, and welcoming you to another beautiful day in San Diego. If you listen real closely in the background, you can hear the birds chirping and probably hear my husband, hopefully not swearing too much as he's trying to paint some stuff around the house. So it's a lovely day here. I'm continuing to try to show you some great things from the annual catalog that will be retiring as of May 3rd, I think is the last day you can order. So I'm trying to show you some of my favorites that you may have overlooked so that you can get them before they run out. They already have a few things, mostly in color, that's retiring, stamps and refills and paper, just as predicted. Those are the first things going out. And you know, I think they're going to be okay with some stamps at least towards the end of the month, so you have another couple weeks of that because they make their own stamps. But the things like dies and ribbons and etc., some great deals on those, especially the dies. There's some that are like 60-70% off. We're not using any dies today. This is a pretty simple card. I thought I'd show kind of a new technique called, I've heard it called lots of different things, but the best one I saw was a split front card, because actually we're going to make two cards in one today. And so let me just, a couple other things I wanted to talk about too. If you are in the neighborhood, April 30th and May 1st, that's a Friday and a Saturday, I'm going to be doing an open house to show off some of the new product that I've got. So let me know if you want to come to that. And also I have a sweet succulent stamp class coming up here on April 18th at 1 o'clock. So I need to know in the next day or two if you're interested in that, because I need to order you the stamp set and such. So just send me a line or comment below if there's something that you are interested with those. And then in May, I'm working on a 12 by 12 sampler. Maybe I'll have it to show you next week because I'm still working on it now. Using the Friends or Like Seashells set, so with the matching dies and embossing folder. That is so cool. Now that's going to be carrying over to next year, so that's a good thing. But anyway, so hold on a minute and I'm going to turn you down so you can see what we're making today. All right, so like I said, this is a what people like to call a split front card, and I'm not sure if that's the right name or not, but we are going to get two cards out of this. You could see this is basically one piece of the white, and then you stamp all together, and then you cut it in half. And I wanted to show you with boo-boos and all on here, because if you look really closely at this card, you see this smush because it really had a problem here with the ink wasn't dry when I was trying to put it all together. So I'm just going to show you how we in Stampland do this. If you get a nice little smush on here, which is, smushes can all be covered by either a bow, as in this case, or some, oh, come on, let's get a little more light on this. Is that better or worse? Not sure. This time we're going to be covering with a bow, but other things are things like just pretty rhinestones, etc. I was going to put this on, and then I decided to wait till you all came so I could show you, like I said, what I'm going to do, which is cover it with a bow. And then, unless somebody is really unusual and wants to play with their card, they're probably not going to even notice that. Look at that, covered with a bow. And I'll probably play with it a little and even put another glue dot underneath so that this one actually goes like that. But my intention was just to use ink and such to make this. So that will be what we will do today, but then you can always embellish them up how you want. All right. So let me get this out of the way. Again, we're using the beautiful Friendship set. Oh, also one thing I always forget is to give you a host code in case you want to order, and to mention that I have a new blog. I've been posting for a couple weeks and I keep forgetting to let you know, and usually what I'm doing is sometime tonight or tomorrow I will post all the directions with all the measurements and such of whatever I make here. So look for this on my new blog, stampwithdrrobin.blogspot.com. So I figured if I wrote it out when I remembered it, that I will actually remember to tell you guys. So because this is a photopolymer stamp set, we need to be using one of our Stampin' Piercing mats, and I think actually I'm going to put it underneath here. You won't be able to see it, but just know that it's there. Because I want to be able to really use the measurements on here. Okay, so we're going to start with this, what's going to be our card front, and basically it's half a piece of cardstock, so it's 8.5 by 5.5, and when we're done we'll cut it down a little bit, but it seemed easier to me to do this while we were together, and then cut it down afterwards, because that's what I actually did. So we're starting with this big, I call them roses, not sure if that's what they're supposed to be, and some Highland Heather. And what we want to do is we want to try to center this. See that line? This is when the grid paper is really quite helpful for all of us. So this is 8.5, so 4 and a little bit more. So that's about in the middle there. I'm just adjusting my mat underneath. Good. Okay, so that's about the middle. You could draw a really light line down there if you wanted to, but this is not an exact science, so I'm okay with that. So we're going to ink up. This is, like I said, Highland Heather, and we're going to try to put some kind of down the middle here. Such a pretty color. And then kind of alternate it, because remember we're going to cut this in half at some point. I think I'd like it to overlap even a little bit more than that. Don't have to be exactly the same. So that's enough of that one. And then we're going to take our rich razzleberry, and we have a lot of things to stamp in rich razzleberry, which is a color that and Blackberry Bliss I tend to get all over my fingers, so I'm trying not really hard not to do that. All right, so we've got some of these big roses that I'm going to put in the middle. Notice I'm trying not to completely line them up, but to also get a little to come down the, what'll be the bottom or top or however we decide to do it. All right, does that seem like enough maybe? Because we are going to use some other rich razzleberry accents here. Whoa, let's get you to stay on the block. So we're going to get a few of these little flowers to come out as accents. And then maybe one up here. There we go. You can always come back and do a little more. And same for the inside. So we got these big flowers and these little flowers, and we've got two of these kind of little centers. We've got this one that I call the big center, and I'm going to put that in the big roses. Any more big roses? Kind of got that one over here, but I think that's enough on that one. And then we've got this littler one. I'm not sure what direction it's supposed to go to, but I'm going to put it with our littler roses. Okay, so now we need to lighten it up a little bit. So I use this, I'm not sure what flower this is supposed to be. Oh, see, look, I've already smushed it over there. So let's try to figure out if that's, I think, on my finger. Remember I said this is a color that I tend to always do this with. Trying not to, but you know how that goes. All right, so let's close it up before I really get things. Well, actually, no, we're going to use it for our sentiment. I'm going to put it to the side. No, I'm going to close it. Don't trust myself here. All right, so now we've got some Daffodil Delight, because like I said, I thought we needed to lighten this up a little bit. So let's just get some, and again, I'm just kind of sticking it in between things. There we go. And then, again, because this seemed like it was getting a little dark here, some Granny Apple Green. With the leaves. So there's two leaves. There's one with 2 and one with 3. I just mounted them on the same thing here. And some I did stamp off and do a second time. Most of the things I try to do in 3s because that's just kind of pleasing to your eye when that is like that. Oh, let's try some of the smaller leaves. And again, it's just kind of anywhere I felt like it needed a little lightening up here. What do you think? Are we done? I'm thinking that might be enough for that. Okay, and then the big question is, how's it going to look when we cut it in half? Because that's half the fun here, is figuring out, okay, is this going to work like this, or are we going to have to do something else? So let's get our cutter out. And first I'm just going to cut it in half, which is 4 1/4, and see how it looks. Although I do want it 1/4 inch smaller, so then it's okay. So for sure on this one, we're going to cut our 1/4 inch off of this side to try to get rid of some of that smush that I made. Look at that, some of it went away. And then do we want it to cut it off the top or the bottom? I'm going to cut a little of each. How's that? Because we want it down to 5 1/4. So this is kind of like if you smush it a little bit, it's nice to be able to decide afterwards instead of while you're doing it which side you want to cut down. And then this one, I think I'm going to cut this side because it's a little white on there. And then I think maybe this side. So again, like I said, I'm cutting it down to 5 1/4 by 4. And I think that looks really pretty to have as the diagonal one. And we could, you know, put them both like this if we wanted to, you know, on 2 separate cards. But I kind of like the idea that you're going to get 1 card like that and 1 card like that. So let's finish making our cards. Oh, a little bit more stamping. So we're going to need to stamp our sentiment. So we've got birthdays are the best days, because truly they are, as our sentiment. Let's make sure this looks straight. And that looks good. Sorry if my head just got in the way there. And then this one, I may play with that later with that smush over there, or I may try to incorporate part of that smush. There we go. So now I only have a little teeny smush. So, you know what we could do? Let's be a little impromptu here. One thing I did learn with all these pretty colors too, with this dark one, is if you go like this, then you can kind of mop up anything, you know, the thing that's kind of too thick. Of course, there's nothing. But we could, why don't we just go ahead and cut this a little bit smaller and actually get rid of that smush on the side. So this is like 3 7/8 now. And left no smush. And I can cut just another 1/8 off of that one. And all you're going to notice is that the layer underneath is going to look a little bigger, which will be fine. And no one will know. And then the other thing I want to do is, before we make our card, is just stamp. These are 3 3/4 by 5, and let's just stamp one of these for on the inside. Let's see. I'm gonna go for this one, but I see it's got a little smush there. So. So, like I said, this is kind of a 2-for-1 card here. We're getting 2 cards with 1 sit and go of stamping. So let's get those out of the ways before I get my fingers on those. And I think we can take the mat out once we're done using that. All right, so let's go ahead and make up our cards here. So I've got some, just pulling the colors out of the cards that we made. I've got some Daffodil Delight cardstock for the base. There's one. There's two. And then we've got some Rich Razzleberry to map them on, just bringing out those pretty colors that are already in here. And this is just supposed to be like 1/8 of an inch bigger. See, look, I still have smush on here. Rich Razzleberry and Blackberry Bliss, my colors that tend to do that to me. So there might have a butterfly appear on here or something just to get another smush covered. And then remember, this one I cut even smaller than originally planned. So let's see how that looks on this. It'll just be a little bigger. I actually like it big. Whoops, let's get it the right way. So it'll be bigger on the Blackberry Bliss a little bit because we improvised a little bit on that smush. And then let's put these on the inside. And then you could, although I didn't yet, stamp some envelopes. Let's get some envelopes so that we have, you know, something pretty to match with our envelopes too. Because we don't want naked insides and we don't want naked envelopes. So let's get our stamp out one more time. And our Rich Razzleberry that just wants to be everywhere. And now we have this beautiful set of cards in what, like 15 minutes or less that we've made. Just really pretty cards. And remember how we did it. These were just ones like that together, cut apart, turn one, and now you have two cards. So what do you think, you guys? Sounds easy enough to do, huh? And this stamp set, wherever it is I just put it, Beautiful Friendship, is not going to be in the new catalog. I think I showed these last week too, but here's a couple others that I made. This kind of almost uses the same technique, but just on one card, you know, with a mirror image. And this is one using a lot of Flirty Flamingo and other bright cards. So get them while you still can. And let me know if you want to be coming to my upcoming open house with new product, which, because I didn't expedite, I don't have to show you yet. But I'm sure next week we'll have some fun with some new product and old product. So, whoops, didn't turn you up. So thanks for being with me, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.